Continuing from the previous episode 2385. Whoa! Following the actions of these alchemists, there was a desolate ancient aura just after leaving the mountain cave. It slowly drifted out from the virgin forest in front of him. The ancient things are inherently mysterious, and this is one of the residences of the immortal world medicine temple, which makes many strong people nervous. Wong buzz! Ho ho ho! Before they could do anything, strange voices emanated from the depths of the forest. In addition to this bleak virgin forest, the bodies of some alchemists who were weak in strength and soul actually trembled slowly. Seems to be afraid. What is this so-called simple assessment? There are all pharmacists present, and the assessment method is nothing more than soul power or refining medicine pills. But today's primeval forest seems counterintuitive to us alchemists. Standing on the edge of the virgin forest, no one dared to act lightly, but each of them could not help but make a small calculation in their hearts. For such a rare silence, Xiao Yan shrugged slightly, and then a faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He disappeared into the crowd at a speed like a ghost, and swept away into the depths of the primeval forest. With Xiao Yan's current soul power, this virgin forest can be easily seen, and naturally a few faint auras can be detected. Hoo! Just left the crowd and came to the depths of the virgin forest alone, but there are some dense figures, quickly rushing out from some trees and grasses, and just resting time, they surrounded Xiao Yan. Most of these strange creatures are beasts with low intelligence, such as demon wolves, giant apes, etc. And relying on Xiao Yan's perception, they seem to be guided by some creature. Quote. Surrounded by so many strange creatures, Xiao Yan's eyes turned slightly, and he did not resist in the slightest, and let these guys be restrained. Crack! After Xiao Yan was tightly bound, some of the leaders actually showed a sharp pair of claws and tore a dark passage on the ground, leading Xiao Yan into it. After a few minutes, a magnificent hall appeared underground. The entire hall was surrounded by a golden halo. Even under Xiao Yan's gaze, those golden halos actually made Xiao Yan feel warmer. Puff puff puff, is this a test? Xiao Yan raised his head and looked at a giant beast in a quiet sleeping state in the hall. The spiritual palace in his body slowly beat, and a hot wave swept out. Crack! Suddenly, the energy in the entire giant hall overflowed, and the sleeping giant beast opened its eyes and stared at Xiao Yan greedily. Xiao Yan frowned, being stared at by this giant beast. Even Xiao Yan's face was slightly ugly today. The giant beast in front of it is impossible to talk about. It has the appearance of a lizard, and its body is covered with pieces of pale golden scales, which looks extremely ferocious. The whole body was filled with an extremely powerful soul force, and even a violent and greedy fluctuation appeared in his eyes. Cece! An emerald-colored tongue protruded from the mouth of the giant lizard in front of him, and immediately shot at Xiao Yan's body. Squeak! The next moment, just as this attack was about to touch Xiao Yan, an extremely terrifying glass flame all over Xiao Yan's body began to roll, and all the restraints on his body were easily broken away. Hand over what's inside of you. Hand over. The glass-colored flames surrounded Xiao Yan's palm, grabbed the emerald-colored tongue of the lizard beast with one hand, and pulled it hard. Whoa! Xiao Yan pulled his tongue like this, and the giant lizard roared. The pale golden light on its body turned into substantial energy and blasted towards Xiao Yan. This is the origin of the soul. Wrong. This is holy qi. Seeing the viscous golden gas attacking from the giant lizard beast, Xiao Yan's normally quiet eyes suddenly had a strong interest. Now, although he has broken through his soul power to half a step, his refining technology is still at the 8th rank holy rank. In the holy rank, the existence of holy energy is undoubtedly Xiao Yan's right-hand man, and the attack of the lizard giant beast in front of him and the power in his body made Xiao Yan feel familiar, and it was undoubtedly holy. Jeep! The lizard giant beast let out a strange roar, and suddenly countless small and ferocious lizard beasts poured in from outside the giant hall, biting away at Xiao Yan's side. Hateful! Xiao Yan could only temporarily loosen the tongue of the giant lizard beast, to deal with such a huge number of lizard monsters, the number of which are hundreds or thousands, and they are creatures that specifically attack human souls. Even Xiao Yan now has quite a few. A tingling sensation on the scalp. Want to run? Xiao Yan was decisive in killing, but he found that no matter how he killed, these lizard monsters seemed to be endless. Immediately, his body shook, temporarily shaking those annoying guys away, and swept them directly to the side of the giant lizard beast. Wong buzz. At this moment, the golden holy aura disappeared from the body of the giant lizard beast, and suddenly a layer of pure emerald light was bathed in it, and a rather ancient singing voice slowly sounded from its mind. Not good. Xiao Yan was shocked, his body quickly retreated, and a strong fear filled the air. Crack! With a bang, Xiao Yan's head shook violently, a mouthful of blood overflowed from the corner of his mouth, and even because of this scene, the spiritual palace in his body shook violently. Actually can use soul fighting skills. But, even now, Xiao Yan is also aware of the so-called assessment. The lizard giant beast in front of him is obviously a spiritual beast formed by the gathering of holy energy. If you want to subdue it, you have to fight with your soul. Xiao Yan closed his eyes and sat upright. The 7 layers of spiritual palaces surged in his body at the same time, actually driving his body to slowly become illusory. Peefed! The 7-story spiritual palace above Xiao Yan's head and the soul ripples emitted by the giant lizard collided directly. Peefed! At the moment when the two touched, there were circles of strange liquid-like fluctuations in the magnificent underground palace, and the 7-story spiritual palace above Xiao Yan's head rippled slightly. The void twisted, unexpectedly. It included the giant lizard beasts in it. Reincarnation domain, the Palace of Taboos. Xiao Yan, who was sitting quietly, let out a low growl, and suddenly a huge portal replaced the entire underground giant hall. Boom! An ancient taboo aura pervaded the underground giant hall, among which the taboo power that isolated and imprisoned everything on the portal of the hall slowly emerged. In the underground giant hall, Xiao Yan sat quietly cross-legged. The spiritual palace and the power of reincarnation were working together, and above his head, the taboo hall slowly floated. And in the taboo hall above the head, the lizard spirit beast and a soul Xiao Yan completely constructed from Xiao Yan's soul power, the two face each other in it. If you want to deal with this lizard spirit beast condensed by holy energy, you can only use your soul power. If he can kill the lizard spirit beast and capture the holy energy in its body, Xiao Yan has a high degree of confidence. In the next pharmacist competition, he will use his own strength to refine the holy rank 8th rank peak level medicinal pill. Continuing from the previous episode 2386. Boom! Xiao Yan's taboo hall just shrouded the two of them, but the entire underground world suddenly had an invisible ripple of soul energy, overflowing like a tide against this virgin forest. The humming sound is like a wild beast roaring, and the faintly shaking world trembles. This volatility. Scattered in the primeval forest are some alchemists, feeling this huge soul fluctuation, and immediately cast their eyes on the forest ZTE, and even some powerful people turned out to be facing the center of the forest one after another. Its appearance, I am afraid that the visitor is not good. Damn human, this seed is the guardian of this virgin forest. The body of the lizard spirit beast floated in the center of the forbidden hall. It opened its eyes and looked at the space of this strange hall, but there was a long-lost depression in its mind, and it couldn't help but make a sound. Even if this guy is transformed by holy energy, his intelligence and wisdom are not inferior to human beings at all, so it is normal to speak human words. The spirit of the holy chi of the 8th rank. It really deserves its reputation. At the center of the Hall of Taboos, the soul Xiao Yan appeared at the same time, slowly stepping into the void, and looked at the lizard spirit beast. Even on the Do-Chi continent, the 9th grade medicine pill or even the emperor grade medicine pill can be transformed into a human form, and it is normal for the more precious and rare 8th grade holy grade medicine pill to behave like this. However, Xiao Yan still has a lot of doubts in his heart. The simple assessment set up by the Holy Medicine Temple will focus on the holy energy of the 8th rank holy rank. What is the purpose of this? But just from this point, it can be seen that this force is rich and powerful. Perhaps the next game will be a real contest between many talented pharmacists in the world, and it will be an *** storm. This guy, the eyes of the lizard spirit beast stared at Soul Xiao Yan with extreme vigilance. Based on its perception, it is not difficult to find that the connection between this hall and Soul Xiao Yan is extremely close, and even the fluctuations in Soul Xiao Yan in front of him are more tyrannical than himself. There are too many, and the coercion of the Temple of Taboo makes it impossible to guard against. The holy energy of the 8th grade holy rank, converted into the soul realm, is just a wandering between the middle and late Yuan, so when it is purely a soul rank, the latter is definitely not his opponent. It is a pity that this lizard spirit beast also possesses some powerful soul fighting skills, which is extremely dangerous for Xiao Yan. Because Xiao Yan's soul power is strong, but he does not control the high and tyrannical soul fighting skills, this also cannot cause effective damage to the lizard spirit beast. So now Xiao Yan is like a guardian who has a precious treasure house, but cannot use it for himself. Btth2. While Soul Xiao Yan was maintaining the Taboo Temple, the golden halo and emerald light all around the lizard spirit beast emerged together, and then actually in this reincarnation domain, a shocking and violent thunder was formed. Go! The tail whip of the lizard spirit beast fiercely slashed towards the Soul Xiao Yan. The thunder around his body seemed to be pulled, and it turned into a thunderstorm that was overwhelming and smashed away. Waste effort. In my reincarnation domain, I am a god. Soul Xiao Yan smiled lightly and slapped it casually. Those falling thunders that contained terrifying soul pressure actually smashed away strangely. Even if there were some fish that slipped through the net, when they were about to attack Soul Xiao Yan's body, portals covered with ancient taboos appeared like mirrors around Soul Xiao Yan's body, refracting his falling thunder. Bullshit. Soul fighting skills, murmur the sound wave. The lizard spirit beast saw that its attack was so vulnerable, and immediately burst into rage, and the scales on its entire body flickered with extremely dangerous fluctuations, and even an extremely terrifying sound wave spread out with it as the center. Hateful. Now it was Xiao Yan's turn to eat Coptis chinensis, and he couldn't tell the bitterness. Soul attack directly dealt with the soul. Even Xiao Yan could not use the defensive power such as the immortal golden body to defend. Only the soul can deal with the soul. Therefore, the Soul Xiao Yan was quite passive, and could only endure the beatings of the lizard spirit beast. For a time, his body was slightly illusory, and even his pupils were slightly sunken. No, I can't go on like this, otherwise. Being attacked by the lizard spirit beast soul continuously, Xiao Yan's soul shriveled for a while. Yu Mingtian! A roar sounded, but it was destroyed without causing any damage to the lizard spirit beast. Obviously, Xiao Yan's soul fighting skills and the lizard spirit beast's soul fighting skills were obviously not at the same level. Although your soul power is strong, such attacks are too weak. My soul fighting skills are ranked in the immortal rank. Ha ha ha! Ignorant humans, become my sacrifices. The sound of ridicule and laughter surged, and a more terrifying soul wave suddenly surged from the head of the lizard spirit beast, which instantly turned into an extreme soul storm, slightly tearing the void of the forbidden temple, and facing the soul viciously. Xiao Yan suppressed it and left. Soul fighting skills, murmur the sound wave. The next moment, when this soul storm was about to touch the whole body of Soul Xiao Yan, the Soul Xiao Yan, who had always closed his eyes, suddenly opened the corners of his mouth and began to learn in a similar manner. Boom! The soul storm and a strange soul roar sounded, and the tide of energy continued to emerge in the entire forbidden temple. How can it be? Seeing Soul Xiao Yan's actions, the lizard spirit beast's body shook violently, and then he couldn't believe it. It's over. Give me your source of holy energy. I will take you to become a respected 8th rank Tianden Pinnacle Elixir. Or, the 9th grade of the Holy Order. Soul Xiao Yan roared, and the entire forbidden temple suddenly became violently weak, accompanied by two tyrannical soul fighting skills, one after another. Bang bang bang! At this moment, the attack under the protection of the three forces just came into contact with the lizard spirit beast. Without two violent energy fluctuations, the latter's entire body shattered and collapsed. Although the body of the spirit beast transformed from holy qi was powerful, it was only the body of the soul. As long as Xiao Yan could resist the attack of his soul, victory was only a matter of time. Is this the source of holy energy? The lizard spirit beast was destroyed, and there were two extremely bright gases in the original location. One is pale gold, the other is emerald, and with the blessings of the two, they are particularly permeating. This time, the Medicine Pill Society, Fang has some good assurances. Xiao Yan quietly took it into his pocket. The Palace of Taboo disappeared quietly, and returned to the underground hall. The corner of his mouth suddenly smiled and said, "Crack." Until Xiao Yan withdrew the two groups of holy energy, a beam of light suddenly poured out from the center of the underground giant hall. Obviously, this was the exit to pass the assessment. In that case, let's go. I hope this so-called Alchemy Pill Society will not disappoint me. Xiao Yan got up, looked around the hall, and immediately walked towards Guangko. Hey, wait a minute, Your Excellency. 2 groups of holy energy. Your Excellency has 2 forcibly, it seems. Just when Xiao Yan was about to step into it, a sticky spider web permeated the light mouth, blocking Xiao Yan's footsteps. Accompanied by an eerie voice, the comber is not good. Continuing from the previous episode 2387. So unlucky? Xiao Yan took back his steps and immediately became vigilant, because the source of this voice was also deep in this underground world, and even in the strange voice, there was a faint dizziness that made him faint and rare. The most bizarre thing is that with Xiao Yan's current strength, it is impossible to judge his specific strength and position based on the source of this voice. So weird. Since there are 2 copies of this source of holy energy, why don't you and I each have one? The strange voice did not appear, but only spoke out, as if he was afraid. Fire! Xiao Yan frowned, the power in his body was slowly revolving, as if he wanted to break through this place and leave quickly. Although the strength of the endless fire territory is terrifying, in the hands of my thorny devil boy, no one has been able to escape safely. Even though Xiao Yan seemed calm on the surface, the strange voice seemed to have insight into Xiao Yan's intentions in advance, and one word pierced through Xiao Yan's identity. Since Your Excellency is a pharmacist with me, why are you so sneaky? Why don't you come out? Have a good fight. The winner takes the source of the Holy Spirit, and the loser flees. Hearing this, Xiao Yan simply sat cross-legged on the ground, closed his eyes and muttered, not in a hurry. Since this so-called small assessment will give them such precious holy source energy, it is definitely not easy. Maybe this is a secret assessment by the medicine temple. Anyway, since the origin chi of the Holy Spirit is in his hands, Xiao Yan is not in a hurry. Cage of Thorns. A gloomy low voice emerged, and the void of the entire giant hall was slightly twisted, and strange black shadows with a thickness of dozens of meters pierced the void and assassinated Xiao Yan's head. Boom! Xiao Yan opened his eyes, and a majestic soul power spread out. The 2 powers just touched, and the dark shadows gradually revealed their original appearance. It was a series of gloomy thorns covered with barbs, and there was even a rather evil wave on the thorns. It is similar and completely different from the aura of the alien race. People from the devil world? Xiao Yan said in surprise, and immediately saw the strong fluctuations in the flames and thorns in the air, but his heart could not help shrinking tightly. Wang Buzz. The evil thorns seemed to be turned into ashes under the burning of Xiao Yan's flame, but those ashes did not disappear easily, instead they continued to drift towards Xiao Yan. The terrifying fluctuations slammed away at Xiao Yan Tinling Gai. Those ashes actually formed strangely destructive energy like a formation, which was extremely terrifying. The needle of autumn hair. A cold snort emerged, and those ash needles filled with countless evil and sinister powers, roaring away at Xiao Yan's vital nerves. You are the devil boy of thorns in the devil world. Xiao Yan's whole body shrank violently, his palms rolled up and tore away the invisible needles hidden in the ashes, and he was shocked at the void. It was actually recognized. Listening to Xiao Yan's voice, the mid-empty space slowly twisted, and a boy who was just like a child stepped into the void and looked at Xiao Yan innocently. But the most intriguing thing was probably the black thorn vines slowly surging around the boy's body. Those thorn vines seemed to have life and spirituality, and every surging would make Xiao Yan a little wary. It is said that there is a strange child in the devil world, named Thorn Devil Boy. He is not only talented in cultivation, but even in the field of medicine refining, he is enough to rank among the best in the devil world. I didn't expect to meet you here. Xiao Yan walked towards the Thorn's demon boy step by step, the fighting spirit in his body surged up, and the holy flame aura emerged, which actually caused the void to begin to distort, and a burning illusory feeling in his eyes emerged spontaneously. Never mind. See you in the final. Seeing Xiao Yan fluctuating so much, the Thorn Devil Boy hesitated for a while and then shook his head. The strength of the 2 of them is around the 2nd level reincarnation level. If they forcibly fight here, I am afraid that they will only cheapen other pharmacists in vain. Moreover, without obtaining the source of the Holy Spirit, I am afraid that I will not be able to compete with those geniuses in the final refining of medicine pills. In the remaining time, the Thorn Devil must go to deal with these things. But the most important thing is that the holy flame on Xiaoyan's body has a rather tyrannical restraint on the demonic energy in his body, otherwise this guy would definitely not talk nonsense in vain. Wouldn't it be good to just take it? Peefed. The vines of thorns flickered with cold fronts, piercing the void at will, and quietly disappeared here with the figure of the Thorn Demon Boy. It's really a weirdo, but in the demon world, there are actually such people participating in the competition. I'm afraid this time the medicine pill meeting will be even more exciting. Crack! With a bang, Xiaoyan also put away what he deserved, quietly followed the light mouth of the passage, left here, and went to the competition place. Wong buzz. Although it was only a few minutes away, but in the depths of the void, a strange experience made Xiaoyan once again feel the hugeness of the Temple of Medicine Refining. The reason why such a bizarre trip to the void is set up is probably the genius of the Alchemy Temple. After all, for pharmacists, refining all kinds of magical medicines is their greatest pride, and their combat power is. Setting up such a trip to the void, confusing the location of the Alchemy Temple, making it impossible for some dangerous guys to easily cause any kind of damage to their huge power. Although the Alchemy Temple is also happy and not afraid, it is also a good insurance. Method. Just when Xiaoyan broke through the mouth of light and was about to arrive in an unfamiliar area, the outside world was already crowded with people. The Temple of Medicine Refining is a powerful force in the entire immortal realm for 3 days. Ruoguang, from the perspective of an alchemist, the Temple of Medicine Refining is even stronger than Yaoqi Wonderland, Moon God Palace and other forces. The headquarters and station of the Alchemy Sanctuary are located in a huge mountain called Wanling Mountain, where all kinds of treasures, prosperous streets and bustling markets are readily available. The people who can inhabit here are some vassal races with unique talents and medicine temples. Although the number is only a few 100,000, it is also a strong force. But now, with the holding of the Alchemy Pill Society, nearly 500,000 souls have poured into this place in a short period of time. These 500,000 creatures are just in charge of onlookers, trying to harvest the huge power of high-level pharmacists from the Alchemy Temple. Haha, this time the medicine pill meeting seems to be extraordinarily lively. Hey, who said it wasn't? In the past, it was a competition between our fairy world and the human world. This time, even the other 5 worlds have joined in. I'm afraid there will be a good show to watch. Go, 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 you know what? There are very few pharmacists in the other 5 realms. In my opinion, this time the Alchemy Pill meeting is probably still a competition between our fairy world and the human world. In the Wanling Mountains, from the foot of the mountain to the top of the mountain, there is a wide, dark stone road in the center. The range of the stone path is huge, but few people can set foot in it. Even some alchemists who came here from the Lightmouth can only shake their heads and choose the climbing stairs that are crowded with people. Obviously, this pitch-black stone avenue is covered with the coercion of an ancient and powerful force. That coercion, at least, only a 7th-rank alchemist can step into it. Steal incense. Continuing from the previous episode 2388, Xiaoyan and others were naturally sent to the assessment site by the city lord of Zixi City when they tried to refine the pharmacist. As for the others, they were living in a mountain range full of people. Spreading out from above, the battle is quite terrifying. At this time, at the top of the Wanling Mountains, there are many simple and elegant buildings, and in addition, there is a huge square that is almost thousands of feet. There was no one in the square, there were only dozens of stone platforms, and there seemed to be some old men on the stone platforms waiting for them. In addition, the tops of the mountains and the void around the square seemed to be filled with countless figures. Old Yao, don't play too much. The number of alchemists who signed up for the competition this time has reached an extremely rare level. At this time, there were several serious-looking old men riding on the square, but the 2 oldest-looking figures in the crowd spoke up. How many? Look at you jumping up and down. The white-haired old man who was seen as the old man called Yao picked up the delicate jade cup on the stone table and twisted his mouth slightly, as if he didn't agree. Quote. The old man smirked, but he didn't make a sound, just stretched out 3 fingers in a mysterious look. 3,000? Not very good. The old man Yao glanced at 3 fingers, then shook his head. Elder Yao, it's not 1,000, but 1,000. Some of the younger elders around him cautiously reminded him aloud. Btth2, 30,000 people? The tea that the old man had just twisted into his throat sprayed out instantly, looking shocked. Really? Elder Yao's eyelids twitched slightly. It seems that the number of people who participated in the Medicine Pill Society in the past has never exceeded the 10,000 mark. This high-level pharmacist, who was like a treasure in the past, appeared on this scale today, which is really surprising. Alright, since people are almost there, let's start. I believe that these little guys and the onlookers who came with various purposes have long been impatient. Well, let's start. During the conversation between several elders in the square, they glanced at the dark stone road below and the many figures who could not wait for a long time, and said with a smile, "Is that one of the 2 holy ranked 9th grade pharmacists in the immortal realm?" Many figures looked at the elder Yao in the square, and their eyes were filled with extreme piety. Powerhouses of this level, even the minds of the forces behind them, must be treated with respect. Saint rank 9th rank has already reached the peak of the alchemist in the great thousand world, enough to make any reincarnation rank powerhouse polite. Quiet. This old man is the second elder of the Temple of Medicine Refining, Yao Wuchen. This time, the alchemy pill meeting will be maintained by the old man and many elders. The faint voice sounded, but it completely quieted the noisy mountain range. Is it the soul power of Shen Yujing? Xiao Yan was still walking to the top of the mountain step by step on the stone path to the sky, slightly startled. There is still a big gap between the half-step immortal ascension boundary and the real immortal ascension boundary. Brother Xiao Yan, here. Not long after, Zuner and the others hurriedly waved their hands and joined Xiao Yan one after another. The alchemy meeting is finally about to begin. The 4 of them gathered around the hall and briefly explained the separation of the previous assessment. Xiao Yan twisted his lips and looked at Yao Chen in the field with a little fiery enthusiasm. Saint rank 9th grade. If you can reach the 9th rank of Saint rank, I am afraid that in the entire great thousand world, the endless fire territory can also become the real peak force. It's not so easy for the alchemy pill meeting in the fairy world. After all, there are too many people participating in the competition this time. Princess Qianchen shook her head and poured a basin of cold water down. Even if she believed in Xiao Yan's refining skills, she might be a little worried in such a place where geniuses gather. Elder Yao Chen is really getting older and stronger. Quote. One after another voices of praise poured out, many of which meant vassal climbing, but it was of no use to an old fox of this level. Everyone who has obtained the origin chi of the Holy Spirit or those whose strength has reached the 6th grade, please use the origin chi of the Holy Spirit or the Medal of Alchemist to step into the arena. If you don't have the 2, I'm afraid you won't be able to participate in this medicine refining meeting. Elder Yao Wuchen raised his head and circled around like a ruler, and suddenly the hearts of many strong men were slightly shocked. Such an easy swipe seemed to directly kill other distracting thoughts in their minds. The endless fire territory in the human world, Xiao Yan. The Devil's Thorn Devil Child. Ghost World Guiyanji. Immortal Realm. Flower God Palace. Flowers are blooming. It seems that these people are a little different. Yao Wuchen looked at the hundreds of people who entered the venue, but when his eyes swept away, there were nearly a dozen figures that entered his mind. Do you need to check the details? The other elders asked in a low voice. Don't need it for the time being, or let others say that our immortal world medicine refining church is too stingy. But it's a pity. The peerless genius in my alchemy temple, who has never met in 10,000 years, is now hitting the 9th rank. Otherwise, this time I will be the champion of the alchemy temple. Of course, there is also the alchemist force in the human world that stabilizes our alchemy temple. Sooner or later, we will surpass them and become the #1 alchemist force in the world. After the voice finished speaking, the field was also boiling. Why is this guy able to obtain holy origin chi? In my opinion, it's probably a coincidence. Why not me? One after another, sarcastic and dissatisfied voices poured out. Those guys were all in the 6th or 7th rank, and they were quite dissatisfied that Xiao Yan and dozens of others were able to obtain the origin chi of the Holy Spirit. Possessing the origin chi of the Holy Spirit can increase the success rate of the 8th grade holy medicine pill, and it can also improve the quality of the medicine pill, which is mysterious. It's a real headache. Looking at these alchemists with hostile expressions, Xiao Yan smiled bitterly, as if there were signs of a shot. Similar to this level of medicine refining holy meeting, it is almost a competition for 8th rank sage alchemists. Although the 7th rank alchemist is not bad, it is obviously not enough. Hey, why don't you let me pay you 2 moves? The Thorn demon boy on the side made a harsh, sharp sound. The Thorn demon boy sneered, and there were countless black thorn demon vines surging all over his body, swinging at will, which actually carried a touch of extremely tyrannical soul fluctuations, and whistled away at the hundreds of 7th grade pharmacists present. Btth2. Oh, you guy robbed our soul power. You are an evil person, a demon creature. Those alchemists who were attacked by the Thorn demon boy had their soul power slightly damaged, but they didn't suffer much damage. This is just a lesson. If you are being so rude, I'm afraid the next step is. The Thorn demon boy slightly stretched out his small tongue, pocketing those soul powers, and even his soul power surged slightly. Later, Huayuan, Xiao Yan and several other experts who had obtained the holy origin chi glanced at each other. It seemed that the power of this Thorn demon boy should not be underestimated. Elder Yao, the alchemy pill meeting should be able to begin. After the episode was over, everyone immediately raised their heads towards the strongest man in the center of the square. I don't know what kind of fierce battle will break out this time at the alchemy pill meeting. Continuing from the previous episode 2389. Dong dong dong. The restlessness in the square had just subsided, and a crisp bell sounded abruptly in the entire square. The ancient bell easily suppressed the noise in the entire mountain range with some terrifying fluctuations. Are we finally going to start? Standing in the center of the square, Xiao Yan and others could clearly feel the tyranny of this energy. Since you are all ready, let the old man nag. Yao Wuchen slowly got up from the stone seat, and the gentle voice seemed to be filled with some kind of magic, which made people feel dizzy, and even everything in the entire mountain range burst out with a breath of peace. Appreciate further details. Hearing that the host finally stood up, countless people became hot. This alchemy meeting is divided into 3 schedules, and each schedule is held separately. The final winner will receive the 3rd elder in our immortal medicinal hall. At the same time, in addition to the many rewards mentioned earlier, with the help of our alchemy temple, the final champion can let his pharmacist and other ranks completely advance to the holy rank 9th rank realm. Yao Wuchen smiled lightly, but among those seemingly plain biological voices, it exploded in the minds of countless people like thunder. Quote. The whole world was deadly quiet for a while, and then it boiled like a molten world. What? Besides the original rewards, is there an attractive bargaining chip that can step into the 9th rank of the Holy Order? Yao Wuchen's seemingly simple words, but instantly set off a monstrous wave in this void full of people. As we all know, it is extremely difficult for a pharmacist to advance to the level, and it is not as easy to break through as a practice. The breakthrough of a pharmacist needs to be combined with the right time and place. A pharmacist of the 8th rank holy rank, this is almost one of the powerhouses in the Great Thousand world with a good status. If it is the 9th rank of the Holy Order, it is undoubtedly the leader in the Great Thousand world. 8th rank, 9th rank, the difference of one word, the gap between the two is a world of difference. 8th rank pharmacists can be regarded as guests in some superpowers. If they are 9th rank, they are the strongest among the superpowers. This alchemy temple actually has the method to advance to the 9th grade of the Holy Order? Hearing such an alluring weight, Xiao Yan's eyelids throbbed violently, and a feeling of tensed blood swept through his body. Only after the refining technology reached the 8th rank holy rank, did Xiao Yan know how huge the gap between the 8th rank and the 9th rank holy rank was. Cheng's grasp of breaking through the 9th grade. So now listening to the arrogant voices of the Chinese medicine Wuchen in the alchemy hall, it is natural to be surprised. The prestige of the alchemy temple is obvious to all of you, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, not much nonsense. The first stage of the alchemy pill meeting, soul confrontation. Everyone, please. Just as Yao Wuchen spoke, a near-substantial energy crystal suddenly appeared on the whole person, which instantly turned into a dazzling soul storm, sweeping over the entire square. The first stage of the alchemy meeting, the battle of souls. All pharmacists who are qualified to participate in the competition, please enter it. The other old men who were in charge of assisting the competition got up at the same time, stood quietly beside the twisted void formed by the soul barrier, and spoke to the nearly 1,000 alchemists who were walking in the square below. Quote. Thousands of alchemists stood quietly on the square, and their eyes were filled with a rare fire. Obviously, Yao Wuchen released the madness that had been suppressed for a long time in their hearts in just a few words. Stepping into the 9th grade of the Holy Order, this reward alone is enough to make countless pharmacists go crazy. Whoa! Immediately, many pharmacists began to take off. Their bodies were wrapped by one after another tyrannical soul power, scrambling to step into the spiritual world, heading towards the first level of the soul battlefield. Good show, it's finally about to start. Countless figures looked at the alchemists who had poured into the void of the soul barrier, and immediately their eyes narrowed, and they stared intently at the mirror like crystals entrenched in the void. The one that emerged was the first level. There are many alchemists in the soul battle. Stepping into it, in front of him is a dazzling dimensional world that resembles a crystal realm. The world only has one after another huge round platform. There are ancient prohibitions on the round platform. The tyrannical suction force sucked Xiaoyan and the others into them in pairs. Spirit world? A huge void built with soul power? Xiaoyan had just poured into the world of the Yuan-Tai arena in the huge spiritual world, and he could not help but be surprised when he looked at the strange void that was surrounded by the combination of reality and reality. Peeved. After a while, on the other side of the round stage, an illusory body also appeared. Shenjie, the unknown Shu Yuan. Xiaoyan, endless fire territory. The two figures quietly emerged from the battlefield of the soul, and immediately spoke out at the same time. Obviously, with their intelligence, they didn't need too much guidance to know the rules of this competition. In the battle of souls, only by defeating the opponent and constantly advancing, can we successfully break through the first level. Shu Yuan, where is this unknown person in the fairyland? The power on this kid seems a little wrong. Looking at the two people in the field, some figures in charge of maintaining order in the refining hall muttered slowly, but they did not report it, but stood quietly in this energy arena, waiting for them battle. The position of alchemist is mainly based on extremely strong soul power and the way of controlling fire, and the first test will be your use of soul power. After the screening of several major cities, there are still 1,110 pharmacists with strength exceeding the 6th rank. The place where you are now, called the spiritual world, is a place specially used for soul power battles. The spiritual world battlefield under your feet is connected to 100 passages, and each passage has nearly 50 battles. Only the winner can successfully break through the first level. That is to say, there will be 100 alchemists left in the first stage of the assessment. I wish you good luck. A magnificent voice sounded in the field, explaining some relevant rules. Let's start. After knowing the rules, Xiaoyan waved his body at will, and immediately smiled at the young man who was not far from him. Soul voice. Shu Yuan snorted coldly, his palm was raised in a strange way, and an invisible soul barrier was dumped towards Xiaoyan like an airtight giant wall. The huge suffocation made Xiaoyan's eyes slightly surprised. Soul power. When Xiaoyan saw this, he didn't dodge or dodge. He stretched out his palms at the same time, and blasted away with a huge soul force. The moment the two touched, they suddenly turned into energy ripples, everywhere. Drift. There seems to be something strange in your body. After such a simple contest, Xiaoyan said with a frown. Because after the latter attacked and touched, the curse of darkness that had been quiet in the body actually had a slight surging trace. The guy in front of him seems to be related to the shadow who cast the curse of darkness. What did you say? I don't know. But I'm looking forward to fighting with you. Suddenly, bright rays of light emerged from Shu Yuan's chest, and in an instant, a surging power emerged from the corner of the entire spiritual world. In addition, in the countless round stage battlefields in the entire spiritual world, such a terrifying scene was staged.